the first time like I ever saw any of your content was that Tobirama video. So I wanted to
Uh,
talk about that.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, what was your thoughts on it?
So it has been a while. So let me know if I'm like oversimplifying your argument or anything. But the way I remember it was
Yeah.
you you said that you said Tobirama's feats against Jubito weren't impressive because he was like mental or unstable Jubito because he was like mentally nerfed at certain points. Isn't that what you said?
Yeah, I've built on top of my argument since then, but yeah, what's your thoughts on that before we get to the other stuff?
So I don't know if you read the comment that I dropped on there, but now I can actually voice it better. So it's
Yeah.
like your justification for that was because he was thinking about Minato or what was that?
Yeah, Minato, Naruto, like being a parallel of what he would have
Naruto.
been.
Yeah.
The Ten Tails itself fighting his control, which is displayed observably as well later on. So yeah, I have more to add, but
And
I
this
wanted
is
to see what
unstable.
you say first.
Like,
Yeah.
this is just unstable Jubito, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, even stable, he
All right.
started. He's having mental doubts as well, but especially unstable because that's when he was specifically fighting off like Ten Tail control. But yeah,
Okay. So all right. So I can't remember if you said this in the video. So I'm like, this is a genuine question. What
yeah.
was your justification for him not just being for him being mentally nerfed specifically in the instances against Toby Rama and not just like the entire time he was unstable?
What was the question? Why was he only mentally enough there? Is that what you're asking?
Like against Toby Rama, because if I remember correctly, you said he was like there were intervals to his power, like high and low,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
apparently the one time that he interacted with Toby Rama was a low point. So why was it specifically against Toby Rama? Did he have like a low point? Was he mentally nerfed specifically then, and not just like the entire time he was unstable?
I would say the fight that he had within his mind can't be like observed, obviously, like the mental struggle. So it's volatile. It's random in nature. You can't really substantiate why it's high at one point and low at the other. It's a volatile in nature type of like influx of power. The points where he's
Yeah.
yeah,
Also,
All
like,
right, so,
kind of like the
going
stock
real quick,
market.
like,
You can't really like you can't really predict or kind of deduce why it's at where it's at. It is just volatile in nature.
Hashirama literally said that like Juito is stronger than him, and as we know, Hashirama is the stronger of the two brothers, like narratively, empirically with Madara, etc. Right? So it's like if he's mentally unstable, that gives more rationalization or credence as to why he can be on par as someone as Tobirama. But if he is mentally coherent and all there, then obviously he wouldn't be on that par with Tobirama because, as Hashirama said, yo, this guy's stronger than even me. So it just makes sense that at that point, considering how weak he was mentally unstable. You know,
Yeah.
okay, perfect. So I'm not. We're talking about only unstable Jubito here, right? We're not talking about like after he regains consciousness, right? Like
Yeah, I
this
correct.
would
is
say he's definitely stronger there. I do think there's like volatility because of like what he's going through. I think he's still fighting off the ten tails to be honest, but unstable. He's certainly having a very extreme time dealing with it. Like he can barely control his body, let alone like winning a fight. So
all
Exactly.
right. So my biggest contention with that would be that so like I said, we're gonna like set up like a chain of events here
yeah,
from what I remember you saying and from what I'm gathering right now. So
yeah,
first of all, Toby, in your words, Toby Rama wouldn't scale to unstable Jubito because Jubito is mentally volatile. And
yeah. His
the
power level,
reason
yeah,
why he's mentally volatile, yeah, the reason why he's mentally volatile is because, like you said, he's thinking about Naruto, Minato, all that good stuff.
Yep.
And your justification for him being mentally volatile at that exact point in time when he encountered Toby Rama was just because Toby Rama's ass, he can't scale to Hashirama. So that's why I'm seeing like a circular argument here. So it's like your justification for Toby Rama not scaling to unstable Jubito is because unstable Jubito has to be so much stronger than Toby Rama that Toby Rama wouldn't be able to scale to him. So it's just like a circular chain to me.
No, I'm talking about stable Juito would be stronger than Tobirama. Unstable would be because he's mentally incoherent. Like Chakra
Oh,
is
perfect. No,
mental.
perfect. Let's go. So we're gaining ground here. So
Let me
we
just
agree
let me
that
just finish. Let me just finish real quick, right? So like chakra is mental, physical, spiritual. So it's like if you're mentally unstable, then that goes in accordance with like your physical capabilities. Like I said with Hashirama, like if he's stronger than the brother that is stronger than Tobirama, then there has to be some rationalization as to why Tobirama is on par with them. And that's why we're talking about his unstableness being a precursor towards his actions. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so first things first. Do you think Tobirama is as fast as KCM1 Naruto?
No, not at all.
Okay, so next question. Do you think unstable Jubito, like when he first emerges, is as strong as fat Jubito?
As Fat
As strong
Jubito?
as fat Jubito?
Yeah, you remember when he turns into like this big balloon and then like yeah, he gets all fat. He's still unstable at that point in time.
I would say
You
he's
Well,
remember
still
that?
mental.
superior because he doesn't have control at that point, like even less control than he already had.
It's also like
So
physical inhibition compared to mental inhibition. It's kind of like a weird equivalence there, you know. But yeah,
so they'd be about the same, if not unstable Jubito being slightly stronger or some unquantifiable amount stronger than fat Jubito, right?
I mean,
it's arbitrary.
he's still unstable too when he's fat, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
physically
So
unstable.
so
Yeah.
what about the time when fat Jubito like blitzed MKCM Naruto and EMS Sasuke
When Fat
and they
Jubito did
couldn't
so,
react?
again,
Yes.
volatile nature of his power, he just had a spike in his power. He was able to do that.
Oh, but didn't we already establish that that was a circular argument? Because
No, you established
especially in
that.
Tobirama.
I didn't recognize
Yeah.
and acknowledge it.
No
You
one
established
agreed with
that.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I established, excuse me, I established that Tobirama was like your logic for Tobirama not scaling to Jubito was the volatility of that of unstable Jubito's nature, and the reason why he was specifically on a low point against Tobirama was because Tobirama's ass and he can't scale to Jubito. That's basically the circular chain that we're talking about here.
Explain how
So
it's
if that's
circular.
the
I don't
case,
understand that.
Yeah, I don't see how it's circular. It goes from A to B. There's a beginning and a conclusion. There's no circular arguments
Yeah, I don't
here.
understand
You
that.
know,
no, it's ABC actually because
Okay.
like we said
it's
the
still not
starting point
circular.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not circular.
starting point no it wraps around
Explain.
so if we're okay I'm about to so Tobirama cannot scale to unstable Jubito, right, according to you, because B Jubito is volatile due to Naruto, Minato, whatever, and C, the reason why he wasn't just mentally nerfed the entire time, just like a blanket over the entire event, and specifically what do you call specifically volatile or nerfed in the time when he encountered Tobirama was because Tobirama's ass and he can't scale to him. So you're basically saying Tobirama can't scale to Jubito because Tobirama's ass.
Well, basically, like you would have to argue that like his mental condition is synonymous with the mental condition he had with Tobirama. So the Jubito who fought against Naruto and Sasuke, you're claiming his unstable condition is synonymous to the one that fought Tobirama. How are you
I'm
able to
saying there
like?
really isn't an unstable condition. If anything, fat Jubito would actually be weaker than unstable Jubito just because he's even more unstable.
I mean, like I said, it's physically unstable versus mentally unstable. There's a difference in correlation there. And again, you're trying to provide credence towards the stability and his mental state versus Naruto and Sasuke being the same versus his state versus Tobirama, which you really can't do
Yeah,
because
just because he's
his
fat
mind.
But
doesn't mean he's less
I
powerful than.
established that that was a circular argument already. So like
I don't see how that's a
that wouldn't
circular
really make sense
argument. How does C lead back to A?
Yeah,
because so C would lead back to A because let's start at C. Tobirama is ass, so he cannot scale to Jubito. That's why there was a low point. So the A would be Tobirama doesn't scale to Jubito. So it starts off in the same place. So it's not a very good argument.
Yeah, that
not
doesn't really
really,
make
not
sense.
really.
That doesn't make
My
sense.
I
beginning.
wish I could draw it out. I wish I could draw it out. I'm not like I'm more of a visual person, but
No, you're good. Yeah, like I'm trying to say to you, man. Like, look, the reason why. Okay, so you're well, like in your words, Tobirama is ass and does not scale Jupiter. That's our A, right? My C is the explanation as to why A is proven. It's because of the statements from Hashirama, the fucking empirical evidence on Tobirama's
Yeah,
death,
it's not
the,
circular.
the caliber of Jubito. This is the
forgetting that
conclusion.
Hashirama, aren't we forgetting that Hashirama actually fucking couldn't react to that? and he got cut in half just like Tobirama did? I'm kind of
Yeah,
confused here.
they're both inferior to him. That doesn't negate that
Yeah,
that
that doesn't
Tobirama's inferior
negate
to
it.
Hashirama. That
But
doesn't negate
Tobirama
that.
can react, can he? Yeah,
To
if Tobirama can
unstable.
react,
Okay, prove that how
I'm
he
not.
reacted. Prove how he physically
I'm
reacted
not.
to.
First, I'm gonna talk to Shinobi. Yes, I'm not claiming Tobirama scales to stable Jubito. All right, I'm not claiming that at all. We're just establishing unstable for right now. And what'd you say, Jay?
Prove how he physically reacted to Tobirama. I mean, excuse
You
me,
mean
to
the other way
Jubito.
around?
Sorry.
How?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Okay, so as we're aware of, in the instance when Jubito bum rushes or unstable Jubito, excuse me, when he bum rushes Hashirama and Tobirama, Hashirama gets cut in half and doesn't do jack shit. But Tobirama slaps 4 tandem paper bombs and a flying thunder god marker on him.
So he did
So
that
if that's
all.
the case,
Yeah.
huh?
Did he do that all
What was
manually?
that?
Did he manually place them?
Yes,
Prove that.
I disagree.
because the FTG seal requires physical contact, so he would have
No,
had to have
the
touched him.
tandem paper bombs don't. Prove that he put those on manually.
All that matters is that he was able to actually react to and at least place the FTG marker on him, because that requires physical touch. So for Tobirama to have placed it on his back, mind you, not his chest or anything, where he would have just ran into it, Tobirama would have to
No,
have
it was
turned
actually on his
around and
armpit. It wasn't on his
Yeah, I
back.
was on it.
So he
Yeah,
did run into it.
hold on, was it on his armpit?
it was.
Yeah.
It was for
It
sure.
was on his left
Definitely.
armpit where his hand would have been. So he kind of blitzed his way into the
100%.
hand. Yeah.
I have
And he
the
had
chapter
the
up right now.
jutsu prepped ahead of time as well.
And on top of
You know,
that, yeah,
he even-
Tobirama, as far as the tandem paper bombs, he says that that was one of his ancillary jutsus that he'd use with Edos. So implying that they weren't manually placed, they were attacks that Edos would use.
Those weren't tandem paper bombs.
Paper bombs are synonymous. They're all paper bombs that he used. Right after
Yeah,
he
I
used
was
that
looking at
attack,
before.
right after he
Because
used
he
that
said tandem
attack,
paper bomb. That happens a
right,
little bit later. He uses tandem paper bombs later. Now, I'm trying to look for the seal though. I don't remember it being on his armpit.
yeah, it
It's on
was.
his left armpit though, right? On his
Yeah,
left
that's where
armpit.
his hand would be, because he's like his hand would be across there. Yeah.
Which would make sense because he's running into the two of them while trying to attack. So it's like he's leaving some areas of his body exposed while he's going directly into Tobirama and Hashirama. Meanwhile, Tobirama is prepared with the ancillary jutsu like the Edo Tensei.
Yeah, these
Tandem
were already
paper bomb
pre-prepared. That's an ability where if you get attackers inflicted upon you, paper bombs scatter. That's basically
Yeah,
what
they
happened.
scatter. Yeah, there's no like real like direction as to where they go, but they go towards like where they're supposed to, and
And it
that's what
shows
happened
at
when they were
random
hit.
locations. Like there's a paper bomb on his arm,
His
paper bomb on
leg.
his rib, on his leg.
Yeah,
So they're
that
very
just means he
randomly
could have
placed.
tagged him.
Prove
That
that.
just means he could have tagged him in different places. But as for the FTG seal, you do realize for him to actually place that on Jubito, he has to react to him, right? He's
You just
not
have
just
to.
going around
No,
like
he just has to
placed it on
activate
him,
it.
though.
His perception has to be sufficient. He doesn't have to physically react to him.
he's reacting, isn't he? Perceiving him and placing the mark is a reaction feat.
Yeah, perception. It
It's
wasn't
like
a physical reaction.
It's like Minato teleporting in between the True Secret orbs.
He doesn't
it's like the
move
same
at
thing.
all.
Minato doesn't move. Yeah.
No, I'm saying when Jubito blitzed into him, he didn't move. His hand was already in that location. All he did was activate the seal. He didn't physically move at all, though. His neurotransmitters fired in time to put the marking on his armpit, and then the other paper bombs scattered randomly when he was hit. He didn't manually place those.
That's the case. And Jubito is reaching out, like we see him reaching out. Then Tobirama would have to have placed it with his left arm, covering a greater distance because his right arm would have already been cut off.
No, he could have just placed it before his arm exploded.
So then
It doesn't
that
have
would
to be
mean
his
he's
left arm.
outspeeding Jubito.
And also the similar trajectory that these guys are sent in after getting hit implies neither one was able to react. They're literally going in the same trajectory. One's going left, one going right. So he didn't have. If he would have brought his other hand all the way to his left armpit, he would have been sent in a different trajectory. That also implies that he physically did not react to Jubito.
If that were the case, then no, because the True Secret orbs are out in front of Jubito. He would have had to have either reacted to him before he was hit by Jubito or afterwards, covering a greater distance with his left arm.
Yeah,
So
the trajectory
I
negates that premise, though. He's going in the same trajectory as Hashirama. If his hand was all the way over there, his other hand, which is on the other side of his body, he wouldn't be sent in a similar trajectory. What'd you say?
Why couldn't he just be pushed back? He could have just been like pushed back by the force of
Yeah, and the trajectory would have been
fucking
different because his body's in a different position than Hashirama. Like you said, Hashirama didn't move at all and react for shit. And why is Tobirama being set in the same trajectory if he moved in that manner
So
that you're theorizing?
Hashirama can't even like bother to react in time. Like there's nothing to prove that he's being that he's moving. He doesn't activate any type of jutsu like Tobirama does. So if that would be the
He
case,
doesn't have any
that would
type
be
of jutsu like that, though. That's the point. He doesn't have a flying thunder god. What would he do?
well, there's no indication that like there's no exclamation point. There's nothing that would prove that Hashirama actually reacted, unlike Tobirama, who we've already proved can react to that shit. So
Perception.
if
He
that's
can
the
he can
case,
perceive him, but he can't physically react, which I just proved via trajectory and
Yeah,
via
like
rationalization.
it's also it like the whole engagement wasn't really like on manga panel. It was kind of like off screen for the most part. Like it wasn't empirically shown exactly how the tags were put on. So we're left to presuppose a couple possibilities. One, which is what you're proposing, or two, which is what we're saying, is that he had been silver jutsu prepared ahead of time. He ran into the direction of Tobirama and Hashirama, and arbitrarily these tags and seal were put on him because he literally ran into the guy. So you have to prove that this possibility is not as plausible as yours, which is a very hard thing to do.
Yeah, you have to prove that regardless of similar trajectory, he was able to do all these manual things that you theorize, which is negated by the very
so
trajectory.
all I need to do is I've actually already done it. So your claim originally RC, going back to RC, was that Hashirama couldn't react and he's superior to Tobirama. So if Hashirama couldn't react in any way, form, or fashion, which he's never shown to do, there's no exclamation point, nothing to prove that he reacted. Then Tobirama, who actually did react, would be greater than Hashirama in
Yeah, he
speed,
perceived him.
Again, like yeah, he might like
prove that he perceived him.
The marking. that's the proof. What do you mean?
Oh, I thought you meant Hashirama. Sorry,
No, no,
I
no,
thought you
no,
meant
no.
Hashirama.
Hashirama could still perceive him, but what would he do if he can't move in time to do anything? He has no flying thunder gun markings. He doesn't have anything like that.
How
plus
would you
was he
prove
even
that he
in
was?
stage mode to begin with? I mean, I think he was in base, right?
Yeah, he was in
It's
base.
kind of like inhibits his, but yeah, nonetheless, yeah.
So you know you can
Okay,
perceive someone without physically being able to react, right? It's kind of like when Kakazu turned around and saw a Rasen Shuriken coming his way. He perceived it, but he couldn't move out of the way in time. Kind of what happened
Do
here.
anything about it.
Unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to prove that Hashirama perceived him. There's nothing on panel that would prove that, but Tobirama definitely did, and we already
Tobirama
established that.
perceiving it proves it because Hashirama's above Tobirama.
And they're looking at the same person. Like, why wouldn't he have
That's
perceived
the proof. All the proof I need. There's empirical evidence to suggest Hashirama's above Tobirama, which means the most rational assumption is that Hashirama as well perceived him, but like Tobirama, he just couldn't physically react. It's the most rational conclusion to come to.
Than Tobirama, especially when there's a statement that claims otherwise.
No, they says he used to boast the greatest speed, and that's in reference to the Flying Thunder God, not his physical combat speed.
Just being braggadocious.
Boast means to take pride in something you have. I've already looked up the definition. I have it up on my phone right now.
You can have pride in
and that's also negated by one Renegon Madara reacting to Tobirama as well. So it negates that he was the fastest of his time.
He was the fastest. Do you understand what I'm saying? He was the fastest. So
yeah, and he's implying that implies that when he was in his prime, Madara was barely approaching his past power, and he reacted to as an Edo to Edo Tobirama.
That could refer to MS Madara at times, like Warren states, like when like Tobirama beat Izuna. It's like cool, you may be faster at that certain point, but like obviously
that time. Why would you refer to that time and not the most recent version of Tobirama that Madara knows, which would be before he left the village?
What'd you say? I didn't hear that.
He's saying you previously boasted to be the fastest shinobi. He's not really like specifying.
Never says previously, sir. He never says that, my boy.
Oh, he said you boasted to be meaning
like past tense
from his recollection, from his knowledge.
Boast the fastest speed of any shinobi. So boast means to hold on. Let me pull up the definition straight from Oxford.
I know what boast means, man.
Either way, the very fact that he dodged him and he's relative to his prime self with the one-eyed Renegon proves that Tobirama's inferior anyway. So that statement is just him. It's him talking down upon Tobirama. It doesn't matter if he said that.
And at what point at time is Madara referring to that statement exactly?
Statements are overridden by feats all the time.
No, but let me prove what.
Explain why not.
What you're claiming. Let me prove what you're claiming earlier.
That is
so
not
you claim that this revived Madara is like barely stronger. He probably, you said he really isn't stronger than EMS Madara, right?
Yes.
All right, so you do realize that he has Hashirama Cell, Sage Mode, and the Renegon,
And
which are all stated to buff
Hashirama
defense.
said he was barely regaining his past power with Sage Mode, right? That's when he first started saying
That
it.
was
He
before
wasn't
he got
even.
the Renegon.
What'd you say?
That was before he got the Renegon. That was
He
before
was
he got the
blind.
Renegon.
Yeah, he was blind. Yeah, I know, I'm aware.
Yeah,
But what
so
about it
the
though?
Renegon, Sage Mode, and Hashirama Cells are all stated to buff your physical capabilities. And I can provide the scans for that.
Like I'm not trying to see where you're leading with this exactly. I mean, back to
Okay,
Tobirama per se.
if that's the case, then this version of Madara would scale above EMS Madara because obviously EMS Madara doesn't have Renegon, Sage Mode, or Hashirama cells. So this revived Madara with the Renegon would be the strongest version of Madara, or physically the strongest. I'm not trying to get into like who would win between the versions, but like physically the strongest and the fastest version of Madara we've seen due to having the buffs that no other version would have, especially since
Okay.
he doesn't have that anymore.
What about it?
So
What about it? Yeah.
that's the case, you guys claim that if this version of Madara can react to Tobirama, then Hashirama would be able to too, because you guys claim that they were relative or whatever. But obviously, this version of Revived Madara is significantly stronger than EMS Madara, who was relative to Prime Hashirama.
Prove is a significant difference.
Sure. So Sage Mode is a perception amp as well, but let me find the Hashirama cell scans.
Let's see.
Yeah, I understand that again. I'm stronger, but his question is to like what degree, though, per se. And
Yeah. Either way, it's a kind of a red herring that I'm entertaining because it just still doesn't disprove that
it doesn't
Tobirama.
prove anything with Tobirama.
It doesn't disprove Tobirama not being able to react to Jubito, and Hashirama still perceiving him.
No, I'm just addressing one of your claims when you said that like that version of Revived Madara is like weaker than fucking EMS Madara, who's relative to Hashirama, and that's why you said that Hashirama would be able to react to Tobirama based off
This doesn't negate doesn't negate my original premise though. Even if you do negate that.
Though. Yeah.
And I did, but what was your original premise?
No, you didn't. Hashirama is still superior to Tobirama, and Tobirama was. So we saw what happened with Jubito.
Oh yeah, we were talking about the statement. So I posted the definitions for boast in your chat.
Oh gosh, already. We don't need a definition for boast.
Yeah,
bro.
we all know what that means, but
come on, man.
So if you know what it means, then it means to like have pride in a possession of yours, in an achievement. To talk with
observably,
pride and
Tobirama is literally watching in awe while his brother fights Madara. He didn't. If he was faster, why wouldn't he intervene at that point? Explain that.
Yeah. So what if he's prideful? How does that explain its validity, though? How does it prove anything? Like that's
prideful in something you have, brother. Prideful in something
you can have pride in wrong places.
It's negated by the fact that Tobirama can't contend with when they're all alive. He can't contend with Hashirama or Madara. That's observably shown.
Christ, I never claimed that Tobirama was stronger than Hashirama or Madara. That would be blatant.
And he lacks the speed to do anything as well, because why wouldn't he rationally help his brother when he's fighting Madara if he had speed superior to them?
Provably, he's faster though. So he definitely is faster.
It's not provably. He didn't prove that.
Yeah, you can't prove it, man.
Actually, Edo Tobirama performs better against Jubito. Hashirama couldn't even react. There's nothing to prove Hashirama reacted.
Yeah, him being above his brother proves that. You don't have. That's an appeal to ignorance. The most rational assumption is that he perceived it as well. That's an appeal to ignorance. It doesn't negate that. The probability of that that claim.
Tobirama is faster, and if that's the case, then your C is basically irrelevant now. So that proves that it is a circular argument.
It's not circular. You haven't negated anything I said.
The problem with your argument is like it really stems from that statement, right? And again, like the statement is based off of being boastful or prideful, which doesn't explain validity, and it doesn't explain at what point Madara is referring to that statement was made. So there's two inconsistencies with that statement. Number one. Number two, narratively, it's been emphasized multiple times that Hashirama is the stronger out of the two brothers, which, like Jay said, is because he was the one who had to fight Madara at the end of the day.
Sure.
So I don't. Yeah. So if Hashirama makes that statement about Jubito and he's stronger out of the two of them, then that negates all this weird inconspicuous scaling that you're trying to provide right now.
You're trying to equate strength and like strongness, I guess, like to being overall, which is just not.
That's synonymous though. It's usually synonymous. If you're superior caliber shinobi, you're usually faster as well.
I'm replying to Sean Obi.
Yeah, but it'd be an
right now.
oxymoron
So
to say, "Oh, I'm stronger than you, but you're faster than me, so I could beat you." That's an oxymoron. So it's
why is that?
easy. The most rational assumption is that if you're able to defeat your opponent in battle in the Naruto verse, you're usually faster than them. That's just the most rational
Well,
assumption to come to.
you guys already conceded that you know the definition of boast. So in that case, that would just prove that Madara, who knows Hashirama, already
Statement was just
admitted inferiority to
yeah,
Prime
but that's
Tobirama.
your own presupposition of interpretation. He's talking down upon Tobirama as if like, yeah, you thought you were something, like you had pride
Let
in
me
that,
He
ask
but you're
you.
already
inferior.
Let me ask
he
you one
already
question real
That
quick,
doesn't
bro.
prove anything. The statement doesn't
When it
override
so
feats.
when was the last time Madara fought with against Tobirama or like saw him in battle? Probably the
oh,
Warring States, right?
I'm so glad you asked this. I'm so glad you asked this. The last time Madara saw Tobirama was right before he left the hidden leaf village. So
So
definitely
Warring
he's talking
States.
about Prime. Huh?
So
No, no,
Warring
no, no.
States.
Right before he left the leaf village to go find Kurama and fight Hashirama. So that is Prime Hashirama and Madara.
Okay, so you might have saw him, but it's not answering my question. Like, when do you see him in like in a real like combative situation though, to really exploit his like knowledge of Tobirama at his full capacity? You know what I mean?
I guess the last time he saw him fight like on screen was when he killed Izuna, and
Hey,
immediately after that
thank
they
you,
formed the village.
thank you.
Immediately after that they formed the village.
So Warring States period. So that's probably what he's referring to with that statement. Like he
No, no, no,
used
no,
to.
no. All that I could make an equal interpretation that would just prove that Warring States Tobirama is greater than Prime Hashirama and Madara because that's the last like that's the last
Yeah,
time
that's
Madara
negated by
saw
the
Tobirama
fact
in
that
battle,
he's
and he
literally
still thinks that Tobirama is faster than Prime Hashirama and Madara.
he's
That's
wrong.
crazy.
I
I
mean, the
never
fact
thought
that he didn't intervene in that fight proves he's not. It's just
he's
incorrect.
wrong. Madara's just wrong.
Yeah,
Madara's just
feats
wrong.
override statements.
Oh my
So it
god.
doesn't matter if
This
you
is
bring up
this
a
is really
statement. If I bring up a feat that negates that statement, the
okay.
statement's just incorrect. Or he's just talking down upon him. He's like mocking him after he slammed him.
No, we
So
already proved that by the
always
definitions.
proves
I already
always
did by
proves
the
so
fact that there's
far
feats
is
that
that
imply otherwise.
So if next, wait, what was I going to talk about? Hold on. Oh yeah. So you're talking about statements over feats, and I already provided a feat
Feats over
that would
statements.
prove that Hashirama did not react, to Jubito, where Tobirama did,
He could
provably
still
because he
perceive him.
placed
He
the
didn't
emphasis
react. He didn't
on.
physically react to him. He perceived him.
No, because he would have either had to have tagged Jubito before he got hit with the Juicy Orb, because Jubito was holding the things out in front of him, right? So he would have either had to have tagged him before he got hit with the Juicy Orb, which means he's faster than Jubito, by the way, or
No, he just perceived
afterwards,
him.
in
It's
which
not
he got
correct.
his arm around and cover a larger amount of distance. So if that's the case, Tobirama is just provably faster than Hashirama. You have your
No,
feet,
that's
you have your
incorrect. You
statements.
can perceive someone and still be slower than them physically. That's not correct.
But we already. Oh wait, you're talking about Jubito and Tobirama, but
Yep.
like, yeah. So that would just prove blatant relativity because
That
Tobirama
does
is
include blatant
actually able to
relativity.
react
That's not correct.
tag Jubito,
That doesn't
where
include
Hashirama
that
couldn't.
doesn't prove blatant relativity. No, it doesn't.
No,
Just because you can
no.
perceive something doesn't mean you're relative in speed to it.
What I'm talking about here is Hashirama couldn't actually do anything. He
He
couldn't
doesn't
do
have
yeah,
anything.
he
anything to mark him
literally he
with.
doesn't have anything to do. That's
That
our
doesn't
exact
negate that
point right
statement.
now.
You're presupposing
So
that.
if
All you're
Hashirama,
proving,
if
all you're
Hashirama is
proving
so
right
much
now,
faster,
all you're
Hashirama is
pro-
so much faster than Tobirama, then like why couldn't he react? Why couldn't he do something? But Tobirama
Because he's
did.
slower than
Tobirama's like,
Jubito. Those
what
aren't
does he
mutually
have in his
exclusive.
arsenal
Jubito's the
to
fastest
do?
out of those three people, then Hashirama, and then Tobirama. The gap between Hashirama and Tobirama was significant between them and Jubito. And Hashirama doesn't happen to have an ability where all he has to do is perceive and mark you. That's all Tobirama needs to put a Flying Thunder God marking. He doesn't need to physically react to you.
but
So it
if
doesn't negate anything. And you saying that he doesn't perceive him is an appeal to ignorance, which is negated by the fact that when they're alive, Hashirama and Madara are the superiors to him. And usually when you're a superior, you're faster than that individual in question. So no, you didn't negate anything I said.
obviously that's not.
And you didn't prove that he
But
didn't
obviously
perceive it. You didn't prove that. You're just presupposing that. And it's via contradiction, I
there's
proved
nothing
that
in
wrong.
panel.
So you're incorrect.
There's nothing in panel that would prove that. Show me the
What?
panel in which he reacts. Show me the panel in which
Again, appeal
Hashirama
to
reacts to
ignorance.
Jubito.
Appeal to ignorance.
Hashirama
Oh,
doesn't have anything in his
okay.
arsenal to do
Perception
Show me.
against.
is invisible. He wasn't able to. That's an appeal to ignorance. You can't prove it.
Apparently,
The
I'm
more
making.
likely, the most likely assumption is that he perceived it because he is superior to his brother. He doesn't have anything to
But
mark him with.
obviously, I prove that that's not the case with the statement beforehand, which would just back up my interpretation, in which your side doesn't really have all that much. You're just saying Hashirama and Madara.
I have empirical
so much
feats. You
stronger
haven't
than
substantiated anything with
Hashirama.
feats at all. You're using statements that are contradicted by by feats themselves. I have more than you do with
Obviously,
my
like,
argument.
show me a feat in which Hashirama outspeeds Tobirama.
Show you? They're fighting, and Tobirama stands there, like, watching Madara and Hashirama and all. He can't do nothing
clearly,
about it because he's
he
inferior.
knows.
Why does that mean
He
he's slower?
knows
Why
there's
does that
no
mean?
panel like
Because if
that.
he was faster, why wouldn't he
Why
help
do-
his brother out? That's the most rational assumption, is that he's inferior in
Yeah,
many
like
aspects,
intervene,
including
use
speed.
flying rising, something like that. You know, he could
just
be a
like,
great
shit,
asset
that's
if he
the
was
fucking perfect
faster.
Susanoo. Oh my god, that's the full QB. Oh, I'm fucked. I'm not touching that shit. So it's like he could just be in awe of their power, not their actual speed. That doesn't actually prove anything. That's not
Yeah,
a
it does
feat.
prove
flying
it, because
rising-
if he has the speed advantage, then he would obviously help his brother. That's the most rational
Yeah, with
assumption
the
to come
flying
to.
rising, absolutely he would. It'd be a
He might
huge
just not have
asset.
anything that he might just not have anything that could damage Madara. And if that's the case, then it's perfectly rational for him to just sit off on the side. That's not an anti-feat for Tobirama. That's
If you're
I
a
guess that would
speedster,
That is an
from
anti-feat.
ignorance.
It
if
is an
you're a
anti-feat.
speedster, it's not about AP though. Like, but that's the point though. Like, if you're trying to be an asset, be an asset with your speed.
It's a big ass Susanoo.
He has paper bombs. He has the Bringer of Darkness, which isn't a physical attack, but
Dude, do
it
you
could
think
blind him. He
Tobirama
does have
cares
things in his
about
arsenal
that?
that would help if he was
Madara's
fast enough.
killed his brethren for like years, dude. You think he cares about a Susanoo? That guy's out for blood, bro. Like, he couldn't do anything because
And
he
the Flying
couldn't do
Thunder
anything.
God would literally allow him to go inside of the Susanoo if he were fast enough to physically blitz
He
and
could
Madara.
teleport so much with
The
that.
mark on
Yeah.
Madara, proving it's the mark on Madara though. So why would he be able to get inside the
You
Susanoo?
could throw a kunai in there and just get in there.
So that's obviously that's just not the case because we
Yeah,
see
because he's
people
slower.
like,
Because Madara would react
I've
to
never
it. That's why. Thank you for conceding.
I've never
That's
seen
true.
the scan of Tobirama actually sitting off to the side. I know everyone
Yeah, there
quotes
is.
that, but
There
can you
is a
explain?
scan. There's a scan.
You know what chapter it's in by any chance?
Nah,
No,
I
off
actually
top of the
don't.
head, man.
He's
Yeah.
just watching in awe. He's watching them like change the landscape. He's in the
No, I've
corner.
heard people quote that so many times. I've just never seen it though.
I forgot what chapter it is though.
But
Probably 600.
yeah,
I don't know.
like you said, with that wouldn't be like an inherent anti-feat for Tobirama. He could just be like, God, that's the full fucking QB. I'm gonna leave this one up to Hashirama because he has fucking Sage mode.
Why
and
wouldn't he
1,000
aid him
fucking
though?
arm
If there's displayed
doesn't make
relativity,
sense.
yeah, that's not the most rational assumption. The most rational assumption is if he had the speed that you claim, he would help him, but
What
he
does he
didn't
do?
because he lacks it. He would use a flying Raijin and
What does
use
he-
his arsenal. He could use flying. If he hits Madara directly, it will hurt him. He can use flying Raijin slice. He could use Bringer of Darkness to blind him for Hashirama to get the
Teleport
advantage.
Hashirama.
He could teleport.
Like,
he
do
could
so
literally
much
teleport
with that.
Hashirama away. He could teleport Madara away. There's a lot of things he could do if he had the speed
As
for it,
opposed
which
to
he
hiding
didn't.
behind a tree. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, come on.
Very rational to
So
assume.
like, what is? I think it's a majestic attire though. So if that's the case, then like,
He
why
just needs to
is-
go inside it.
why-
That's what the flying Raijin's for.
how would he get inside of the majestic attire if it's already active? Like how does he get inside the Susanoo once it's already there?
Just like in
Doesn't
the
make
War
sense.
Arc, others were in Sasuke Susanoo, same way.
So, but how would Tobirama get inside of it once it's already up?
Okay, well, I think we're getting down like a really niche rabbit hole here. The point is the flying Raijin could be utilized in many abilities or like tactitional advantages. Like maybe like teleporting the Biju bomb away, maybe teleporting Hashirama away from danger. There's so many examples that it could be an asset as opposed to not using it because you're not fast enough, which is what the narrative told us.
And either
that's
way,
how
it didn't start that way anyway. As soon as the fight started, he could have just blitzed him immediately if he's as fast as you claim before the Susanoo even emerged.
I'm not.
It doesn't matter.
I'm just claiming he's some unquantifiable. Excuse me. I had to fucking. Excuse me. He's some unquantifiable amount above Prime Hashirama and Madara. That doesn't mean he's a blitz fucking tier above.
Yeah,
him.
it is because you're
Perception
claiming that Hashirama couldn't do shit and that Tobirama was the only one that could perceive him. So that's a significant gap. So it's not it's unquantifiable, but it's significant.
Yeah,
That's what you're
like,
claiming.
If you can't even perceive something, the other one can. That's quite a gap.
Yeah,
for
so
sure.
my theory still holds. He just couldn't. The reason he didn't intervene prior to the Susanoo, anyway, if you want to say he can't get into it, he couldn't have done it in base, and why didn't he? Because he lacks the speed to do so. That's the most rational assumption to come to.
But he does have the intelligence not to fuck around when he knows he has no place in it. And that's
Yeah,
just
if he's
facts,
faster,
man.
by far
Yeah.
the best course of action would be to speed blitz and try to one shot or at least heavily damage Madara or do anything for Hashirama to get the advantage. That'd be by far the best course of action if he was as fast as you claim, which he didn't do, which
So y'all
negates your
couldn't
claim.
Tobirama being like showing up and seeing them. So we don't know as of right now. We don't know what point he.
I mean, I'm not going to
saw
pull up
them
scans
fighting
right
at.
now. It's not that important, but yeah, it did happen. I wouldn't say if it was a lie. I didn't make up a scan. It exists.
I'm not saying that you did, man. But I'm just saying we like as of right now, the scan was not provided. So like I don't
I mean,
actually
the
know
people
at
can
what
decide.
point
I
did
mean,
that
it
happen.
exists. It's not a formal debate, but it exists. So my theory
Which
does hold.
scan exactly are we referring to?
When
Uh,
Tobirama was watching Madara and Hashirama fight, like when
Oh,
their
okay.
final battle.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got you.
But if you want to be technical and be like, oh, you didn't provide it, so you can't prove it. I mean, that's fine, but it exists. So
We're not really here. Yeah.
that doesn't
I
really
mean, it's
matter
just
to me. I'm not like
exactly.
in a formal debate, but I've proven my theory to be more likely than yours.
uh, okay. So wait, after this, oh yeah. So what are we talking about? So in my case, I guess we can bring it to an end here. But I
Yeah.
guess this is a formal debate. But I'd like to bring it to my conclusion. I guess you could do yours as well.
Yeah, that's fine. You can do
So
that.
first, like really the only thing the reason why I came on here to talk about in the first place was just to discuss that Tobirama video. I honestly don't remember the second half of it. I wanted to talk about the second half as well, but we only got to the first half. That's okay. I just wanted to talk about how I think that is a circular argument in the case where it starts off with Tobirama's being ass, so he can't scale to Jubito, and then it ends off with Tobirama's ass and doesn't scale to Jubito just based off the Hashirama stuff. I provided a statement for Hashirama claiming that Tobirama is faster than Prime Hashirama and Madara. We've gone over the definitions. Actually, you guys said you already know the definitions. So if that's the case, then we already talked about the feat that was provided since you wanted to see a feat as well. And the feat of that would be that Hashirama is actually slower than Tobirama in terms of perception. He's not able to react to Jubito. There's no indication that he does react. So then that's at least one feat, and that's at least one statement that would prove that Tobirama is unquantifiably above Hashirama, even as an Edo. And if that's the case, then it just inherently is a circular argument, and that would just mean it starts off with Tobirama being ass, ends with him being ass. So, yeah,
Okay, so I'll give mine
you can
before
give.
before you go. Yeah. So first of all, I don't think you know what that means, circular argument. That's not what that is. It's not circular whatsoever. You have one
Yeah.
statement and one claim and one empirical feat, which I negated with a plethora of statements. And well, I should say feats. I didn't really use statements that much. So it's because Hashirama didn't have an ability to use on Jubito. Loko claims he didn't perceive him. That's an appeal to ignorance, by the way. And the reason why that's an appeal to ignorance and it doesn't work is because when they are at their best, Hashirama is above Tobirama. Tobirama did perceive him, and it's proven by the fact he put a marking on him. So simply put, Hashirama perceived him, but like Tobirama, he didn't physically react either. Neither one reacted physically. That's the point. So it doesn't matter if he did place a marking or have some sort of ability where he could use if he could perceive you, that doesn't negate the fact that he's above Tobirama and that he perceived. And the most likely assumption is that he did perceive him, which is displayed when they're alive with Hashirama and Madara having superiority over Tobirama. And you try to claim that just because someone's stronger, they're not faster. Usually, if you're able to defeat such Shinobi in battle, you usually are faster because you can't defeat someone you're not faster than significantly, or at least to some arbitrary extent. So yeah, that doesn't work either. So simply put, the most rational assumption and the most probable conclusion to that is that Tobirama and Hashirama both perceived him. As far as the Madara statement with the boasting, he's literally talking down upon him. He said he used to boast the best speed, and he could just be referencing Flying Raijin, by the way. So even if you consider that to be hyper literal, he means the Flying Raijin because that's instantaneous speed, which is faster than anyone that we're talking about, by the way. So that doesn't negate anything I said either. Or he could just be talking down upon him and just be incorrect because he never knew the limits of himself in comparison to Tobirama either. So simply put, by far the most likely conclusion is that Tobirama is far inferior to Jubito and is inferior to Hashirama in terms of speed. And again, to further reinforce my premise, Hashirama wasn't even using Sage Mode, by the way. So he wasn't at his
Yeah.
optimal ability to react. He wasn't even using Sage Mode. He was using his base form as well. So if anything, if he had Sage Mode, this panel could look a lot different. But yeah, so.
And just to
Yeah, but
accentuate that a little bit, it's the whole bow statement. Again, I have to just reiterate, it's based off the time that Madara last saw Tobirama, which is arguably during the Warring States period with Izuna. Doesn't know exactly how fast or fast he isn't since then, and
yeah,
cannot um, prove of prove that like he's faster than Hashirama as a result, who was the ultimate relative counterpart from at the end of the day. Also, with Tobirama's feats being defeated by people like Kin and Gen, kind of reinforced the notion that he isn't on par as someone like Jubito, even unstable mentally. It's happened several occasions. And so again, I remember you saying that there's a statement from Hashirama that says Tobirama is faster than him in Prime
I
Madara.
think I
I
think he
don't.
meant Madara. I think that's what he meant. I don't think he meant Hashirama. I don't think Hashirama ever said
Oh,
that.
okay.
Uh,
Yeah, I was about to say, okay. But yeah, again, Madara's knowledge on the two of them is based off their last engagements. Tobirama is even more questionable, like I said earlier. So, like I said, it's just narratively Hashirama's statements with Jubito being even above himself reinforces the notion that Tobirama isn't even on par as someone like Hashirama. It doesn't matter about overall strength. I mean, to be even stronger than someone requires like more than adequate abilities. It's not just speed. If you're a mouse going up against a tank, it doesn't do anything. You know what I
exactly.
mean? So
Yeah.
and there's just multiple like anti-feats of Tobirama's death and demise, Hashirama's statements, the battle of Madara and Hashirama. And then I agree. I think the only reason that like Jubito was hit with tags was because Tobirama at that time had a prep jutsu that could work arbitrarily, and it was something to be utilized at that point in time. Because Tobirama is a smart guy. Don't get me wrong. Like, no discredit to him, but I just think as an overall shinobi, he just doesn't cut it.
Yeah.
You know, so
Essentially, Loco's claim is possible, but it's improbable. He's not able to substantiate it. The empirical evidence contradicts what he's saying. The fact that he's able
yeah.
to react to someone that Hashirama admits inferiority to is very unlikely. So, all right. That went for a while though, folks. So we'll try to go to the next person. We just concluded anyway, so we were gonna end it there anyway. So
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Good
Shout out
comment
to
though,
Loco
man.
though
Thank
for
you.
calling in though. Shout out to Loco, man.
Yes, sir.
That was a good topic.